The single greatest segment in sports media history, fellas. Game
That's
balls
it,
and
right
jock
there.
straps, baby. Let's
Game
do it.
balls and jock straps.
Gotta
It's
put
such a
some respect
mouthful.
on that.
All right.
All right, so
Steve.
I blew it there. I'll get it better next time. Hopefully.
Shame.
I know.
Shame.
Shame the agony.
Shame.
All right, just for that, Josh, I'm starting with Steve. Steve, who's your game ball?
So, honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say about this game ball, but I will tell you I had other game balls that I wanted to do. I just couldn't.
Just showing off.
Yeah. Well, simply because, hey, I know you guys didn't pick them. So I had a slew of people I could pick, but I can't give a game ball to anybody on the defense for the rest of the year. It's not going to happen. You're not getting it out of me. So Ramsey, you can hold this one until we get a good defensive win. Engold keeps it going, but can't give one to him. Sanders had an okay game. Can't really give one to him. Hill can't score a touchdown. Can't give one to him. But you know who I can give one to? Jalen Waddle. I know he only had 2 catches for -4 yards or something like that on the ballot.
We'll get to that.
But he had 1 catch for 23 yards, and it was a huge first down on 3rd and 7 with 2 minutes and 29 seconds to go. He had, after that, what I thought was maybe a season-ending Achilles injury. Right after that, maybe 2 plays after that catch. And I think what had happened there was somebody came by and hit his
He got cleated.
Yeah. There's a nerve in your calf though that makes your whole foot go numb, and it puts tangles straight down. It's called the tibial nerve. And when you get hit in that, you literally feel like you can't feel your foot. So he ultimately got clipped back there in that nerve is what I believe. And they took him out, and how it looked like he blew his Achilles. So it was super upsetting. And then I'm watching it. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait, did Waddle just score a touchdown? How elite and clutch. He came up super clutch in the last drive that we had that ball, and he was quiet all game. We didn't see nothing out of him until 2 minutes and 29 seconds. That 3rd down catch tiptoed down on the sideline. It was beautiful. You don't get any more elite in such a moment like that. If he drops that ball, 4th and 7, what do you do? Do you punt it and hope your defense holds up or not? You don't, but then you're just giving Josh Allen the ball in the 30 or so. I think that's where they were at. They were well beyond the 50. And when he came down with that touchdown, it was just kind of like, man, can he get any more clutch this game? I know we didn't see him all game, and, it could have been nice too, but Devon Achane had 18 touches or something like that, 10 handoffs, 8 catches. Most of the touches went there. So it's not like he had the opportunities, but when he did, he came up, I think, game ball worthy.
I like
Absolutely, man. Jalen Waddle was clutch as it comes. That catch was so beautiful. It was on the sideline. I think it was just like an out or a cross or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It was an out. Yeah,
he's running towards the sideline at full speed and has to stop, catch the ball, make sure both feet are inbounds on 3rd and 7, like you mentioned.
Yep.
Just absolutely chef's kiss.
Yep,
beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, Josh, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I took low hanging fruit here. I think Tua had his, and I'm sure I'm not sure rather who will agree with me on this, but I think he had his best performance in a Miami Dolphin uniform to date of his career. That means this, in my opinion, I thought this was a better game than the 70-something points that we hung on Denver.
On the Broncos, yeah.
Better than the comeback, 4-touchdown comeback in the 4th quarter against Baltimore. I thought this game showed masterclass understanding of football, how to read a defense, how to manipulate a defense with your eyes and your body language, how to fit in throws in the tight windows. The accuracy was better than I think I've ever seen from him to date. His ability to scramble, and albeit wish he would have slid the other way, feet first instead of diving head first, but he didn't get hurt. So, hey, it's a win. His command of the offense, his command of the plays, him helping out other it was just a true masterclass of a performance from a quarterback. I think it was better than Josh Allen's performance, honestly. Albeit probably a little biased, but in the last 2 games since Tua's come back, he's 53 of 66. He's got 465 yards, 3 tuds, and no INTs, and he's leading an offense now that's averaging 27.5 points a game. You can't ask for more. I think he's what he does for this offense can't be quantified, right? I mean, you can see, yes, okay, cool, he's a good quarterback, right? He's a top 10 quarterback, if you will, top 15 for the fans that aren't big fans of his. But I think where it sucks where we're at and I'm going to have a little soapbox moment here, fellas, and I apologize, but it sucks where we are from a record standpoint, right? I mean, it's horrible. Not what we thought. We thought we would be where the Bills are, right, from a record standpoint. But the one silver lining that I've taken away from this whole season so far is the fact that if you ever had a question about Tua in this offense, if you ever had a question about whether or not Tua is the right guy to run this specific offense, if you ever had a question about whether he is a top flight quarterback in this league, look at what we came for when he was injured, where we had 3 different starting quarterbacks, one of which has been in this system for 3 years, one of which should not be a quarterback because he hasn't played quarterback since high school well, and another one I was high on in Huntley, but just clearly wasn't ready for the spotlight, right? And then he comes back and in 2 games has this offense ticking back close to 30 points a game. It's amazing to see. I'm thrilled that he's our quarterback. And if he can just figure out a way to stay healthy, there is a foreseeable future this season, even where we rattle off a handful of games here in a row coming up to the hard stretch down towards the end of the season here. We're still in it. Tua gives me a lot of hope, a lot more than I had a couple weeks ago. And I'm not saying that, for all I know, we won't win another game because that's also very feasible, right? I mean, with what our schedule is going to the end of the season now, we were supposed to run the table to begin to give us a buffer going into the kind of the fourth quarter of the season, if you will. That's not the case anymore. Every game's a playoff game. Every game's important if we're trying to make the wild card because we're not winning this division, in my opinion. But anything's possible, man. Anything's possible. And Tua had a phenomenal game.
Yeah. Just a reminder to those who are listening, we averaged 11 points per game without Tua. And now we've scored, I don't even know. We scored 27 this game. What did we score against the Cardinals? 27. We've scored 27 points. So 27 points a game since he's been back. That's quite a significant increase. More than 150% for those.
And it's infuriating, right? It's frustrating because if Tua makes the smart franchise quarterback move in the first Bills game, mm-hmm. You're the franchise guy. You're our 200 and whatever $1 million guy. You don't need to truck somebody. Take the L, right? If we lose a game, fine. But if we lose you, we lose much more than just the Bills game, right?
Right.
This season's going to end with quite a lot of what shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Because if we had Tua for this stretch, we don't lose to Tennessee. I don't think we lose any of the games that we've played outside of the crazy game. I think these last 2 were. We lost by field goals on both. Okay, shit happens, right? But
I don't know if we would lose those though with with Tua being in for 4 other games straight. The last game we clearly were trying to knock some rust off again, for the second time this season, and then we played a hell of a game. We really did. Our defense is banged up. We've had a Band-Aid on us all season long. It's not like we're getting any healthier for whatever reason some teams are, and we're just not.
We've had this Band-Aid on the defense for 1.5 years now.
Dude, it's
facts.
The cast is about to come off, I think. I think the cast comes off soon. We just got to get through a little rehab.
Well, Chubb is back practicing from what I read.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to remember. Like, our defense was good last year, right?
Do we get better with Chubb and Phillips back, though? Like, I know Phillips, yes, but Chubb's not getting any younger. He hasn't played in
don't let recency bias fool you. Chubb was having a Pro Bowl. He had like 9 sacks before he got injured.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He's coming off a hard injury. I mean, it's a big rehab.
How old is he? Do you guys know off the top of your head?
27, 28. Is he in his 30s?
I can't remember. He's 29 or 30, I thought.
28.
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought he
not
was
even
28.
close.
Yeah. But so I'm not saying he's old, but the explosiveness is only going to go down from here, especially with the the rehab he's going to have to go through. He's never going to be exactly what he was, and he's always going to have to play with that in the back of his head, like
Was this his first major? Was it a knee or Achilles? Whatever.
I
it
think
was?
it's
He's been
Achilles.
injured. Hasn't he been injured his whole career? I think
I
that's why
thought
Denver
so.
traded him.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
done a knee injury and an Achilles injury now. This one's Achilles.
I think if we were doing this show in the offseason, I think that would have been a large topic of conversation is the Chubb versus Van Ginkel, right? That was a decision that Greer had
Yeah.
to make.
Mhm.
It's another bad one in my opinion. But
Right now, it's looking like that was a very poor decision. Yeah.
Up until this last week. So after the Cardinals game, I read something, and I'm paraphrasing from my memory, but like Van Ginkel had more touchdowns
Yes.
than our offense or something like that
offense,
total
yeah.
through
Yeah.
like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I was getting to, though. It's like, as fans, it's really hard to remember the past. I don't remember anything. My memory's terrible. But I do, like, just looking back, our defense was very good last year before we lost Phillips and Chubb. Like, we had a top 12, right, defense.
We were top 10 the year. I think we finished top 7, didn't we?
Mhm.
Last year?
See, I'm just proving my point that the revisionist, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
So, like, this defense has been good once upon a time. Of course, that was a different defensive coordinator who is now in Philadelphia. Can this defense get to the next level? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, in the beginning of the season, for the first like 3 games, I think we were ranked top 5 in total defense, which was awesome. We were number 1 in third down defense. We were number 5 in like total defense. I mean, we were killing it, and then they decided to forget how to play football. Apparently,
I think those numbers were skewed, though. I think we talked about that because game 2 is against Buffalo, where we gave 3 turnovers within our own territory, so there was no need for them to get first downs.
Still numbers, man. Right?
Whatever.
Still
numbers
stats.
aren't always telling the whole story, though. They're not.
But I'm just saying,
the whole story.
but they were playing good. They were playing good football. They were a top 5, top 7, top 10 defense for the first 4 weeks of the season on average, in my opinion, at least. And then they just totally shit the bed and forgot how to play football.
Yeah,
and then all the injuries piled up.
It's tough for me to say if we were actually good. In the show that Keith and I did, we both kind of commiserated at the end as to whether or not weren't sure whether or not the defense was good yet. We faced Trevor Lawrence and Geno Smith and Will Levis / Mason Rudolph, who scored 31 points on us, by the way. And then we faced Jacoby Brissett and Anthony Richardson, who has since been benched. So now that we faced Kyler Murray and Josh Allen back to back, the rust is like the cracks are starting to show more, right?
And all the injuries doesn't help for sure. Yeah.
We've gone way off topic here. Let me get to my game ball because I don't know how we got here, but we got here. So let me. My game ball was to Devon Achane. That should be no surprise to anybody. This guy, I think I saw a stat on like the fantasy football subreddit the other day that every full game that Tua has played, Achane has had 115 yards plus.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, he has been absolutely fantastic. He is all over the field. He is a lightning in a bottle. As Steve said before when his wife was like, whoa, who was that? It's Achane, right? I mean, this guy, he gets the ball and goes from 0 to 100 in a flash. So not much more I can really say about him that we haven't already said in the show. I think Devon Achane is the future, to Steve's point, and we've said that in the past. Like, he is, to all Chris Greer's mishaps, what a home run.
Yeah, seriously, right? What a good call out. Now let me ask you guys a question. I know before we go to Jock Straps about Achane, where do you see him in the realm of running backs? Is he, over the next couple of years, do you see him a potential top 10? Is he already a top 10? Is he a top 5? I mean, where do you see him?
I see him like a Dalvin Cook was at his prime in Minnesota. It's just I hope we don't ever get rid of him.
Yeah. That's all. And injuries don't derail his career.
Yes. But I see a Dalvin Cook-esque career out of him.
Great kind of parallel, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
I was thinking dual threats as well. I was thinking CMC just because he's with the 49ers right now.
Do you think he's talented enough to be at a CMC level? I mean, because CMC the last couple of years, albeit an injury riddled couple of years, and he's on my fantasy team, so he can go F himself right now. But
I think
he's a stud, dude.
I think it's a loaded question because I don't think Mike will ever give Achane the workload
Fair.
to be that.
But from a talent level, you could see there.
From a talent level, I could definitely see.
Yeah.
I could see. Yeah. I mean, he does everything.
He's
I
tough.
can't say. Yeah, I can't say he does everything CMC does because I don't understand football to that level.
Fair.
But like from an
from a
amateur
fan's
point of view,
yeah.
just watching the two play, they're very similar. They're one cut, hit the hole, lightning in a bottle, or catch it out of the backfield and make somebody miss type of guys who are just dangerous, right? I mean, we can see Achane running a 10-yard hitch or whatever other route they need him to run and making a play out of it. And it's the same stuff that they utilize CMC for, and Bueller sent Deebo Samuel out there in San Francisco. So.
It's pretty crazy to think that we have someone of that caliber on our team, you know, and he's only going to get better over the next couple of years, putting more weight on his body properly. And
it's just crazy to think about the talent we have, and we're 2-6, dude. I mean, we have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Mostert looks great, Tua looks elite.
Which
Jake
I have
Wright.
a question then. Is it sensible to have such a hard playbook?
Probably not. And I think we've seen them kind of explode now that it's simplified a little bit. Even since Tua has come back, the motion has cooled significantly.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that they just need to stop playing that motion game, but simplifying the plays and leaving those trick plays for trick play times, I think, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it a million times to your point, Steve. Let your players let your players play.
Yeah.
You know, gimmicky crap is great every now and then. The league has caught up to it from your first year. Stop force feeding it. It doesn't work, right?
Well, and good coaches know when to call it, right? Like to your point, the Ray Davis call was perfectly timed. An end around to Tyreek in a perfectly timed situation is a home run.
It's a touchdown. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But an end around to Tyreek 6 times a game is just predictable.
Yeah.
And now it's lost its surprise, it's lost its muster, and then the defense just annihilates.
Or when you've already thrown 5 screens and now you want to try one to
none of them
that's
have
what
worked.
it is. It's you've already watered down the screen game.
That's so funny, Steve.
Yeah, the screen game
throw
is
37 screens in a row and none of them have worked.
Yeah.
How much did we rage in the beginning of the season? Like the first, like the Jaguars game. I mean, it was a screen every play. What a frustrating. I'm happy we're not there right now.
Yeah. But you know what's funny though? Both teams had a screen out of the backfield on their running back who caught it and ran it for a touchdown. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that may have been Tua's best pass to Achane on that.
Oh,
I thought it was incomplete.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah,
Achane just turned on the burners.
Yeah, I was like, "Where are you throwing that, dude?"
I mean, talk about leading your receiver into full speed. Yeah. Oh, it's gorgeous. It was absolutely stunning. Yeah. And that goes.
Like, sorry to cut you off, but we haven't necessarily seen that from him on that type of play. So to see that, it's like, oh my God, he's improving. That's so like it was an amazing.
And what did you say, Anthony? You said this in the beginning. Maybe it was Steve. I can't remember. Maybe we both said it. I think I might have heard it from both of you at some point. But every year, Tua has improved on something, both during the season and in the off season. And to your point, Anthony, that you just said, I really do think that this is something that he focused on because he was horrible at it. His running backs always had to reach behind or stop. It's been a few times now where he's hit them in stride out of the backfield, and I thought it was really cool to see.
The most painful ones were to Tyreek, when you know they specifically had Tyreek run behind him to get out into the flat and beat the receiver to the flat, and Tua hits him too slow, and it just becomes a 2-yard gain instead of a 10-yard gain. And So while we're on a negative subject, let's talk jock straps. So I'll start us off with the jock strap. Mine is a play, not a player, and it's the final play of the game. What is this loop-de-doo, pass it around? We lost 25 yards on it. Like we've seen the Hail Mary work for teams just last week. Or Jaden Daniels throws the Hail Mary, right? Like it works. It's possible. There's like an art to it now. You have one guy behind the crowd, one guy in front of the crowd looking for the rebounds, and then the crowd that jumps up and tries to tip it, right? It's still not a high percentage play, but it's got to be a higher percentage than pitching it out to a fullback or a lineman and having them pitch it around like a dozen times. This one only made it like 3 pitches before Waddle ran inexplicably 25 yards backwards and gets tackled to all fantasy players' chagrin because he ends with -4 yards because of it.
Included.
It was called the Miracle in Miami because it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We
Yeah.
had it succeed once. Let's not keep doing it more and more.
Yeah,
That's
that was
my
tough.
jock strap. If you can give it to a play, if not, I give it to McDaniel for calling that play. Absolutely atrocious. I just I couldn't do anything but laugh because I'm like, this is how you're choosing to end this
It's
game.
never going to work. It's never going to
Right.
work. It's not working.
Two superstar wide receivers, a budding superstar running back, and this is what you choose.
and don't forget, I read on some things about, oh, well, we don't have a lot of height. Okay, well, Jonnu Smith has been stunning. So in
Yeah.
the last handful of games, throw him down there too. Julian Hill hasn't done crap all year, but he's 6'5". Throw him down there too.
You're just looking for the tall guys to tip it up, anyways.
Yep.
You want the hands guys on the outside on the perimeter to get the rebound.
Yep.
Because we're not Aaron Rodgers. We don't get lucky with a guy actually going up and catching it and coming down with it. Nobody gets that lucky, but Aaron apparently. All right, Steve, who was your jockstrap?
Well, he's been good all year, but as I said, game balls are not going to defenders. Jock straps are. Kendall Fuller, he let 2 touchdowns get by.
Yeah.
One,
bad game.
a lot of people like to harp on Mac Hollins. I do like Mac Hollins. I like the culture of Mac Hollins. I think if Mac Hollins is a Dolphin, he doesn't make us worse. He makes us, in fact, better. I think he's a player that plays for the love of the game. So he's a kind of guy I wouldn't mind having, but at the same, stroke of that brush, I don't want to see him burning my cornerback either. So that kind of sucked. And then we've talked about this before, but the Ray Davis breaking arm tackles, you know who that arm tackle was? That was Mr. K Fuller, Kendall Fuller right there. Yeah, he looked like he was trying to tackle a water balloon or something. Like you can't grab somebody like that. You put your shoulder into him,
especially not a running back that deadlifts and squats 600 pounds or whatever the hell it was.
So I watched that play a few times because I did watch it on YouTube then. But if you're afraid that you're going to collide into, I believe it was Brooks, hold up a minute. Let's see what Brooks can do. And if Brooks doesn't get him, he's at least slowed down, then hit him. You and Brooks don't have to hit him at the same exact time. There's angles. You take a different angle and cut the field off a little bit. So he just didn't play well at all. And honestly, it was probably the game-winning touchdown because the next score that they had was the field goal to win the game. So all in all, I don't think that Fuller had his best game. I don't think that Fuller looked even remotely good. I'm going to chalk it up that Fuller ate some bad dinner the night before and was just a little slow in the belly today.
I mean, you did mention before how we scored too quickly, but we also let them score too quickly. A one-play drive is too much,
Exactly. And honestly, that was almost the exact line I was thinking about when I said that. I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to use the opposite when I said Josh." But thank you. Yes. No. Exactly. Yeah. Well, to Anthony's point, you can score fast, but you got to still stop them.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for stealing your thunder. I was reading your mind, I guess.
That's all right. You said it better than me too.
All right, let's wrap up strong. Aqua Ace, who is your jockstrap for this one?
Yeah, so I got dual jockstraps because I was holding off on the second.
Pass them out.
On second jockstrap in case one of you guys stole them. But buckle up, fellas, because I'm going to go here. I'm about to go on a rant for a second.
Oh, boy.
So both jockstraps, Poyer and Mostert. Poyer, I can't say what I really want because this is a family-friendly show and I've already slipped twice. So I apologize. But, Poyer needs to not be on a football field ever again. From an accountability standpoint alone, he should be benched. He should not be allowed to maybe hold Javon Holland's helmet. Maybe get him a drink if he needs it. But what he did was unacceptable. He was the Bills' best player of the game, in my opinion. He forgot what team he was playing for because how do you do that? You know the rules. You've been in this league long enough to understand how to tackle, where to tackle, when to tackle, and how to do it properly without getting flagged. You've done it for over a decade surprisingly very well for Buffalo. And then you come to Miami, talk crap about Miami and how the perception of the team is soft and all, which probably all very true, right? From an opponent standpoint. And this is how you back it up. You cost us. You are one of two reasons why we lost this game. Our rookie, albeit second year, but rookie cornerback in Cam Smith made back-to-back pass breakups, to get us to a 3rd and 7. Had them stymied across the board all drive on that final kind of before they kicked the field goal. And what does he do? Crown of the helmet to the face mask, 10-yard, 15, whatever the hell it was. You gave them the game. Unacceptable. If we benched Long Jr. for his poor play last game, can we fire him? Can we cut him? Do something, because it's unacceptable. He should not see the field again, in my opinion. I am so fed up with Poyer's lack of speed, lack of aggression. Then he's over-aggressive to try to overcompensate. He doesn't take good angles anymore. He doesn't have the speed to catch. He doesn't have the speed to make up when he takes bad angles. It's horrible all around. There's not a good thing about him right now that I can come up with. And Mostert, for as much as I love him as a player, I think he is a phenomenal locker room presence, a locker room veteran, a key voice in this for this team. Every player at different positions when they hit certain ages, right, from a statistical standpoint, start to decline rapidly. And I'm not saying he's there yet, but he's had 2 fumbles in the last 2 games, both of which cost us a game.
88 yards in this game, surprisingly. But
he's holding that ball like a loaf of Wonder Bread. Like Tiki had that thing high and tight. That's where you need to put that thing at this point in his career.
And what kills me is the next time he had the ball after the fumble, 2 hands like you're supposed to when you're running through a crowd of players that are known for. This is what I mean by a player not being ready. You know that Buffalo is notorious for gang tackling and punching at balls to try to cause fumbles. Yet you still are holding it out like a loaf of bread. Like, what you know better. And so, like Poyer, as much as I hate to say it, there needs to be some accountability. And there was. He got benched for a while in the game. That's great. I think there needs to be a serious, this is one of those things where, because where he is in this locker room from a popularity and from a leadership and from a captain standpoint, these are the kind of decisions and accountabilities that need to be held to make a point, right? It doesn't have to be cutting someone. It doesn't have to be getting rid of somebody or lashing out them at a meeting. Oh, crap. If they can bench Mostert for a game, I can't make another mistake because they'll definitely bench me. These are the kind of things that need to happen, because what these 2 players have done over the last, Poyer all season, but Mostert over the last, since coming back from the injuries. Yes, he's had a lot of yards. Yes, he had a couple touchdowns against Arizona, but you cannot make the boneheaded mistake to cost you the game, because you both are the reason we lost this game, in my opinion. Simple fact. Sorry, fellas.
No worries. So I'd love to recap here before we get into the next segment. So for the game balls, which, if you're not familiar with our segment, game balls and jock straps, game balls are whoever played the best performance, we thought, and jock straps are whoever had the worst performance. So our game balls, Josh gave it to Tua, Steve gave it to Jalen Waddle, and I gave it to Devon Achane. I don't know how to say his name. The jock straps. Jock straps, Josh went to Jordan Poyer and Raheem Mostert for essentially turning the tide of the game in the Bills' favor. Steve went Kendall Fuller just because he didn't actually show up to this game. And then I went with the end of game sequence, where instead of throwing a Hail Mary, we tried to throw a toss around Miami Miracle style, which, only happens once. That's why it's called a miracle. So if you have different game balls and jock straps, we would love to hear them. Please put them in the chat if you're joining us live, or throw them in the chat below or as a comment if you're just watching later on YouTube. We would love to know who your game balls and jock straps are.